All right, so before we start this job, I thought it might be helpful to go over some of the tools that we're gonna need. And I guess we can start with this welder. It's just a nice budget welder I got off Amazon for, you know, like $220. And it's been doing pretty well so far on the practice welds I've been doing, so I'm pretty confident in its skill. We're welding 22 gauge, so it is a very thin material, so you don't need something too powerful. An angle grinder, obviously, for cuts and everything, an angle disc, grinding disc, and a cutting disc. Our drill with our brush attachments. And this is my little makeshift welding table, since I don't have much access to tools, but this will do. And you know, your small clamps, magnets, and we're gonna need a 17 and 14 millimeter socket to get the seat out. But that's pretty much it. Let's get started. All right, so the first thing we're gonna need to do is going to be to unbolt the seat from the rails. This is a power seat, so we're gonna have to unbolt those, move it back, and then unbolt the front. So that's why we need the power. And then after that, we can disconnect the power. Unplug that thick ass wire, which goes right here, which is plugged into here. Let's not break nothing, just pull that out. See if we can do that. Awesome. Nasty. Now with our front seat out, it's time to disconnect the battery, and after that we're going to pull up this carpet and see what we're actually dealing with. So this is basically the first time I'm seeing the damage myself. It does seem pretty bad, to be honest. And I'm trying to do this without taking off the carpet, just to make things a lot easier. So we're just gonna have to try to find a way not to set this car on fire while in the process of repairing it. I'm assuming this is pure paint that just chipped off. But no big deal. We're gonna have to move this out of the way a little more, start cutting, make sure we got a clean surface to start welding. Yes, those are wires hanging out. I've been driving with wires exposed. Doesn't look too bad. We can get this done. So what I did was I pulled up the carpet and I tied it to the other door just so the carpet, you know, folds over a little better. And I stuck an extension right here to push this nice thick piece over to the side, and I tucked a fireproof blanket around some of the upholstery to, you know, not catch on fire. I'm just gonna keep cutting until I see bare metal. Hopefully I can go in a nice square panel so I can just put a nice square piece back in. So yeah, let's get cutting. just like that. All right. Okay, so we finally got the welder out. There's just another look at our rust hole. Right there. Our ground clamp is attached to a clean piece of metal. Don't forget to sand down your edges. Clean them all up, as well as the insides. And we're gonna just lay this right on here, and we're gonna have to apply a little pressure to get our corners to connect where we want. But yeah, let's just see how this goes. If you're planning on buying the same welder, I'm using 22 gauge steel, and the directions right here tell you what settings to set the machine at, which is 1 volt and 2 wire speed. But after some playing around, it's gonna be, you're gonna want to set it on 1 and 4. And mine's at 6, that's why. So we're gonna turn it down. 1 and 4. Alright, so after this section of the floor pan, now we have to cover up this nice little mess. And I was able to cut out a nice little panel, which does fit pretty darn perfectly. We're going to make some minor changes and clamp it in and weld it up. So here it is after she's all ground down. Some very nice fitment all the way around. Better than the floor pan. But let's take out the welder and tack it up. is all ground down, I'm gonna scratch up the surface of this plate with our little brush just to give our rust reforming primer a little more traction. So yeah.
Hours later.
Okay, so our rust reformer has had a couple hours to dry, and I hit it with a second coat and let it dry for 24 hours. So now we're going to scratch up the work area a little more with some 80 grit sandpaper, and that's just because we're going to clean everything up with some Bondo glass. And I couldn't get a straight answer if it was a good idea to just lay the Bondo on straight after the rust reformer, but I think it's a better idea to scratch up the surface a little bit just to give it a little extra grip. And we also might add some netting to our work area just to give the Bondo a little more traction to hold on to. Stick with me, because after this there is going to be one final step and we should be done after that. Alright, so I was able to get my first coat of fiberglass on the car, but it is getting pretty dark and pretty hard to see what I'm working on, so I'm gonna save sanding and a possible second coat for tomorrow. This stuff does dry really quickly, so I did have to work a lot quicker than I expected. But sanding and any other touch-ups is gonna be for tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Alright, we finally have everything sanded down. I cleaned up the work area with some isopropyl alcohol and blew away any dust. Masked off my surface, my work area. But everything looks good. For the final step, we're just going to throw on some rubberized undercoating by 3M and seal everything up.
Tomorrow for sure.
And here it is. We let everything dry overnight. We got a nice rubberized coating with a finish that matches the original, just a little darker. But now we're gonna work on a little bit of interior cleanup. And we're finally done. It's a great feeling when the project actually ends and everything fits together and works just how it's supposed to. Carpet looks good. Clutch goes down all the way. No problem. Everything looks like we haven't even touched it. You can ask anybody who's attempted a project like this. Everybody says the same thing, that the carpet does not go in the same way it came out. But not with me on the job. I was even able to fix this rusted out fender, and I'll post a video of that soon too. But thanks again for watching. I don't know why, but I had a couple shops refuse to take this job of fixing the rust hole, but we just got it done for a fraction of the price and some pretty damn good results. Thanks for watching this all the way through.